Hey everyone, Ram Spiero here. You're watching Buy and Hold Fundamentals, where every weekday I look at 20 potential buy and hold single family properties in different markets. This week we're looking at Milwaukee, and we've looked at other places in the past. Next week we're probably going to go look at Indianapolis. That's about it. I do a a fairly shallow initial analysis, which helps to weed out those properties that are interesting for further investigation. And then on the weekends, I do two things, which are, which are sort of look at the 100 properties I've looked at over the week and try and draw some conclusions about particular markets. In this case, again, we'll be looking at Milwaukee at the end of the week. And on Sundays, I've started looking at multi-family deal analysis, which is substantially different from single-family deal analysis. It's a lot more complicated, and I'm sort of taking you guys along with me on the ride as I figure out how to do that. So that's over the weekend. But that's all in the future. We're now back to looking at single family properties in Milwaukee. What I've done, for those of you who haven't been watching, is I've limited the maximum price for properties to $150,000. I'm really looking for stuff under $100,000, but to purchase. But I'm interested in things that might be worth more. So that's why I've sort of widened the net to look at other stuff, just so that I have statistics to compare it to. I use my nifty analysis sheet where for each property I'm entering 1623 three pieces of information which change from property to property, being the purchase price, the estimated monthly rent, and the taxes. These are the things that fluctuate the most. I'm making assumptions as to vacancies, using property management, cost of repairs, and capital expenditures, as well as insurance. So those are staying the same. I'm always assuming that I'm going to make a 25% down payment on a property, and that I'll probably have to spend about $3,000 just getting it rent ready, and that's assuming that there's nothing really wrong with this, just to clean it, maybe give it a coat of paint. And then what we're looking at is a couple of key indicators. I'm looking to see what the rent ratio is like. I'll probably have a quick look at just the expense ratio, which should be around about 50%, and we can see that when that's off, it affects, or rather, it's a good indicator that you're not going to cash flow. We look at the monthly cash flow and the cash on cash return, which is how much return are you making on your annual cash flow. So compared to, not the correct, so the correct thing to say rather is how much return are you getting on your annually on your initial cash outlay. That's the right thing. Okay, so here we're seeing that we're losing $53 a month, and the cash on cash return is a negative 3%. Negative 3. We've seen in previous the last couple of days that one of the assumptions I think we can make is that if the rent ratio is not somewhere between 1.3 and 1.4 at least, it's not going to cash flow. And that's been holding up so far. Let's see, 975. This, for instance, is well over 1.3%, assuming that is realistic, and then 1767. And assuming that that's realistic, that's going to be a good indicator that 1776, is that what it was? 67. That's going to be a good indicator to that this place is actually going to cash flow. 1767. There we go. And 975. What was it? 975. Let's see. Yep. 225. 22%. 22%. And off to the next one. There we go. 60,000. I don't know if you guys can hear all the noise above me, but that's just the vacuum cleaner. Let's see. Okay. And let's see about taxes, 2662, and beyond the fact, yep, not surprising. Rent ratio is low, taxes are high, 143 in the red, 9%, minus 143, minus 9. Off to the next one. Just because that annoys me. There we go. Better? Yes. Okay, another foreclosure. And that's going to be a really low price. Let's see what kind of rent ratio they're projecting. They're not. Okay, so I'm going to go with 800. And let's see how that comes out. And I'm going to leave the taxes as they are. 37, 3%, 37, 3%, and we're going to say no rent or tax info. And then basically what that means is that when I filter out stuff for averages, I'll do two averages. One with all of the data that includes the ones that are based on partial information, and some of them, and one tongue-tied, and one estimate or average rather without, which is based on actuals. Thousand. I find that hard to believe. Uh, 25.75. All right. 25.75. That's that. Make that 1,000. It's definitely going to cash flow. 219, 29%. 219, 29, and we're off to the next one. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Pick that up. Home value $695. Taxes $23.89. $23.89. $695. Right? Yeah. Which gives us just under 1.3, which means it's not going to cash flow. Also, taxes are having a big impact. Negative 74 minus 5%. Negative 74 minus 5. And next one. Let's see what this one's about. Okay. Unavailable. What was the? So why is it still on the MLS? If you, this is interesting. So this was supposed to have been sold by the end of July. It's still on the MLS. I don't know why. And they're just trying to get rid of the property. I'd be very wary of it. If you're interested in it, make sure that you know what you're getting into. Make sure you understand any tax liens or code violations that you're required to fix before you get into it, and not like that, and add that in your assumptions when calculating. Otherwise it's going to be a money pit. What were we saying? Okay. So it's missing that. Is it missing taxes? It's missing taxes. Was it? Yeah. So we're going to say that even with that, just because of the low price, it cash flows because it's got this ridiculous rent ratio, which, I mean, if you can get it, that's fine. But if you're going to have to stick, let's say, 20,000 in it, you're still going to get that rent ratio because it's not being reflected there unless you make that 40,000. And then suddenly it doesn't work anymore, right? You still have 174, but now the taxes are killing you. Okay. And that goes back to 3,000. 59, 8%. 59, 8. And we grab that so that I know to filter it out when I want to compare actuals. There we go. $9.50. $21.62. $21.62 gives me healthy rent ratio $97, 6%. 97, 6%. Not enough. accepted. It's not enough. It's like, that's probably what they did. They just took a picture with a phone off their screen on their computer looking at Google Earth. 675. 75. There we go. 675. And let's see what we got in taxes. 2417. 17. Not going to work. Just out of the rent ratio. Taxes will also eat all that up. And negative 183, negative 9. Negative 183, negative 9. F. Negative 9. Off to the next one. Okay. 900. $13.24. Okay, that's going to work. Got a good rent ratio. Taxes are lower. It comes out 119 and 7%. 19, 7%. Still not enough. There we go. Come on. Okay. $1,000. Let's see how the rest pans out. There we go. And 1,000. Taxes 1806. 1806. Doesn't work because the rent ratio is too low. Everything else is not bad. Just that one isn't working. $24, 1%. And no, come on. There we go. That's what you wanted. Okay. That's not interesting. No, not that either. What's going on? We don't want this one. We want there we go. Go figure. Wow. Thank you. Okay, rents. Shithole, by the way. Okay, probably. No pictures on the inside. No pictures on the inside. Always a bad sign. Or encouraging if you're looking for something that's beat up. 975. Gives you something to negotiate with, I guess. Let's go. Okay, 25. And taxes come out 36. That's going to kill it. 36.18. Rent ratio's fantastic, but the taxes are the death knell. 47 and 4%. And here we go next. Grab that one. Right, where was I? Price. Grab that. Stick that in there. And okay, just call that 800 and go over here. Make that 800. Make that 2000. Negative 55, negative 3, negative 55, negative 3, and we're going to call that out as being iffy. Next one. Also, another one of these. Okay, make that happen. That's also not going to work out because it's another 10,000. Nope. Negative 93, negative 4, negative 93, negative 4, and that's also. Now this one. Okay, there we go. 120. Values, home values. Are we gonna get anything here? 1125. And that's not going to be enough, most likely. 1125. That's still under 1%. So taxes 2191, 2191, and losing 47 bucks, 2%. Minus 47. And there we go. Next. Another one at 120. Okay. Oh, another one of these. Okay, that's gonna just come out dandy. 800. Leave the taxes alone just for the hell of it. Unless there's, nope. And that comes in as negative 242. Negative 242. And what was the percentage on that? 8. Negative 8. And that's another one that's incomplete. Okay, what else? Here we go. $78,000. $10.25. That's going to work out nicely, unless the taxes completely destroy it. 1025. And then, before you get too excited, 1786. 1786. We still need to establish. So that's sort of on the. This is interesting. So that's sort of on the cusp as far as the rent ratio being high enough. It's sort of okay, but not fantastic, and it's making money, but the cash on cash is too low. 86, 4%. And what I was about to say about not getting too excited, you still have to establish that the estimate that Zillow is spitting out as far as the rent is concerned is actually not divorced from reality. So that's fine for this sort of initial analysis. But once you whittle your list down to properties that you actually want to look at, you're going to 1195. You're going to have to make sure that the assumptions that you've been making in your analysis are real and still hold. Because if you're assuming you're going to get 1,200 in rent here, and for some reason you decide to 2258. Come on. $22.58. For some reason, you decide to go with this, right? Let's imagine that that's positive rather than negative, and then it turns out that you only get $950. You're screwed. 86 over here, 2%. Okay, let's see what this one gives us. Pricing, don't know why all of that's red. Let's make that black. Okay, there we go. And yeah, that's not cool. But the interesting thing is maybe that's the real rent rate. And 2129, that sort of makes sense. And a negative 372, negative 11, negative 372, negative 11, and one more for today. There we go. Okay, so last one. 29. Here we go. What's blah 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 blah. 3-car garage, completely remodeled. Yada yada yada. And 11. Uh, 2356. 2356. That's not working out. $83. 3%. Negative 83. Negative 3. Okay. Well, that's another 20 properties. I'll be back to do another 20 so that we can wrap up the week. My name is Spiero. You've been watching Buy and Hold Fundamentals. If you're getting anything out of this, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. That means a lot to me. I'll see you next time.